When you see a set of coordinates displayed on your GPS or on a map, you're always going to see a pair of values. Typically the first number is your latitude. Degrees of latitude are parallel lines that encircle the globe from east to west. The second number is your measurement of longitude. Longitude lines circle the globe going north and south. So in this case on my GPS you can see I've got a north latitude and a west longitude. You can also see that I've got this coordinate system set up to degrees and decimal degrees. There are also other coordinate systems using degrees, minutes, and seconds, or degrees, minutes, and then decimal minutes. So we'll go over each one of those just in a little bit here. You'll also see that I've got an N and a W for north latitude and west longitude. Now there are also times when you'll look at a map. So let's look at my phone, for example, here. Or if you're on a computer or Google Maps or something like that. If I were to try to determine what my location is here, you can see that these coordinates don't have the N and the W next to them. They actually have a positive value and a negative value. Positive for the latitude, negative for the longitude. So when you're in the continental United States, your latitude value is going to be a north latitude because it's above the equator, or a positive value. So anything above the equator is a positive latitude, anything below the equator is a negative latitude. Likewise, I've got a west longitude, but in this case I've got a negative longitude because I don't have the W. So in the continental US, all of our longitude values are going to be negative or have a W associated with them. As you cross over, for example, all the way into the western side of the Pacific Ocean, you end up crossing the line where those values become to easterly longitude or positive values. So if you ever are looking to enter or report coordinates and somebody uses a negative value or they use an N or a W, you kind of know what the difference are. In Wisconsin and in the continental US, you're always going to have either an N or positive latitude and a W or a negative longitude. The other thing you have to remember is that we are looking at the coordinates in a couple of different ways potentially. We have degrees and decimal degrees here, but you should know there are also other ways you can report coordinates. So if we go into the setup here and look at the position formats, this is the one we're on right now. So it's just decimal degrees, degrees and decimal degrees. You also might see a report out that says decimals and minutes and decimal fractional minutes, or degrees, minutes, seconds. So the degrees is got the little degree symbol just like a temperature degrees. Minutes has a single apostrophe quotation mark, and then seconds has the double quotes. So when you're trying to find a coordinate or report a coordinate, you have to make sure that we're talking the same language as the people that are giving it. Some people's phones or other GPS units might report out a different format than we are trying to find. And if we don't use the same format, we won't actually be thinking and talking about the same location. So you can do some calculations if you had to. If you knew somebody was giving you degrees, minutes, seconds, for example, there are 60 seconds in a minute, so if you divided the number of seconds by 60, you'd get the number of minutes. And likewise, there are 60 minutes in a degree, so if you divided the number of minutes by 60, you'd end up with the degree. The easiest thing to do, though, is just use this menu and change that menu so that when you look at your coordinates or when you try to navigate to a specific set of coordinates, it's going to be displayed and using the same language as the other person or the other system. So when you ask for coordinates or are given coordinates, if the numbers don't seem to make sense or the location doesn't seem to make sense, you might suspect that you're talking about it in a different way. So ask, is that degrees, minutes, seconds, or is that decimal degrees? And if people don't know what you're talking about, you can ask, well, are there quotation marks in there? Are there asterisks, or not asterisks, but are there apostrophes? The important thing to remember is if you don't enter the coordinates in the correct format, you're going to end up in a either slightly different location or sometimes a greatly different location. One of the things you may need to do is report your current location to perhaps someone so they can navigate to you, or the command or operations needs to know your location, or maybe you're relaying a set of coordinates to the helicopter for a landing zone or something like that. There's a couple of easy ways to find that we have on this GPS unit your exact location, current set of coordinates. On the map page, remember when we looked at this earlier, if you're not navigating, we have the current set of coordinates up here. And again, I've got these preset to decimal degrees, and if the people that are requesting them want them in a different format, you can change those in the setup menu. And the only indication we have of how good these coordinates are giving us as far as our position are this 3 little bars that are lighting up out of 5. So that's kind of a mediocre location. You can actually see that even though I'm not moving around, the GPS kind of thinks I am, because that location is kind of drifting because I don't have a great GPS lock indoors here. So that's one spot. But remember, if you're in navigation mode, I've set these GPS units up so that the informational window up here changes to that CDI compass. So you're not going to find your currently displayed coordinates on top of the map page in that case. So the other place that you can find those is on the top of the navigation compass here. Remember, not this one is just the generic one, but on top of this one, even though this is turned to the CDI compass, we still have the current coordinates listed up on top of that screen. So that's a quick and easy place, and that's always going to display that information on the navigational compass. We only still have the 3 bars out of 5, so the other place, if you go to your menus and go all the way down to the bottom page, there's a satellite icon here, and if we select that, it also gives us our current coordinates, but it also tells us how accurate we are right now. So remember, we only had the 3 out of 5 bars. My accuracy level is way up in the several hundred feet, so that's not great. So if you want to make sure that you're giving a better set of coordinates, it's better to be in clear view of the sky, which I'm not, I'm inside right now. Hold the GPS upright, which I'm not, I'm laying it down for the video, and make sure you have that GPS locked as best as you can. This indicates which satellites you're pulling from. These bars indicate which satellites they are and how strong those signals are. So you can see I got some pretty weak signals, and that equates to not a great accuracy right now. The lower the number, the better the accuracy. So you should, be getting down into the, maybe even the teens of feet on a good clear day with good satellite lock. So now that we've talked a little bit more about coordinates and how to use them, let's take a look at how we can navigate to a specific set of coordinates if we're given them. Maybe we got the comm center to ping a cell phone location, maybe someone read it off their own phone, maybe someone has their own GPS unit that they can tell you where they are located, and you're going to try to navigate to them. So we hit the where to. This is where we found waypoints before. Now we're going to select coordinates. You can see that it's going to suggest a location initially. This is going to be your current location. Chances are you're pretty close to where you're going to be navigating to, so therefore the numbers might not be that much different. So you can either just arrow over and start typing wherever you need to make a change. So let's say it's not 78801, let's say it's 14852, and you can see after I've entered those numbers, it automatically bounces down. I don't need to change the west. If I did, I can use the arrows here, but so don't ever want to use easterly. You'll be going in the other side of the globe. And now maybe those numbers are all good, or I could punch in the numbers right over them, and let's just say it's 85599. So now I've got them all entered correctly. I'll hit the check mark, and the GPS will automatically kick into navigation mode, and you can see that I have a waypoint that's been created way down here wherever those numbers ended up being, and my navigation is heading toward them. Kind of a good cross check to see, okay, well, I can't really navigate that far. I don't want to go over the river and all through all these things, so maybe one of my numbers was wrong. Maybe the coordinate system that the person gave me was different than I was using, and rather than just heading right off, maybe we want to verify that those coordinates are correct. So again, anytime you want to stop navigation, hit the three bar menu, click stop navigation. Hit the back arrow, go back to your home screen, and try it again. Make sure you've entered the coordinates correctly and try the navigation again.